your question, Dan?
No, I wouldn't want all members to have access to the account. What I was saying was, if you have online access, you can print out a balance anytime you want,
Right.
and you can get it just before the board meeting.
Okay, I misunderstood. Okay.
Yeah. Well, what I do is I get the statement online. So I just wait for that. And that's usually like on the 3rd of the month, and the board meeting is never before the 3rd. So, it's working fine.
Yeah. If I remember, the only business we had with the bank was to change the signatories that had access to it. And so that's just a matter of tidying things up.
Right. That's what I'm doing. And when I'm done, Stan and I will be the 2 signatories, and Ray will no longer be on there.
Very good. If the treasurer's happy, I'm happy.
Okay.
Sort of like what I remember when people said, happy wife, happy life.
Right. Joan Edwards, for some reason, I don't have your email address. Could you just post that to our chat window?
Will do.
Thank you.
I was going to ask, did Saul, Will, and Willie get together and figuring out how to present our membership numbers in a way that's a little bit less difficult to explain?
Will has not provided the data.
Okay, I will.
And just remember, Will, that's your first name.
Say again?
Well, when you say I will, just remember that's your first name.
Okay.
As if I said I saw.
I will promise to honor and obey. That's the way one of those things starts out, doesn't it? Like, I married you for better or for worse, but not for lunch.
Either that or call me anything you want, just not late for dinner.
There you go.
So Joan has done what you've asked, Will.
Okay, I just looked at it and okay, thank you, Joan.
Well, I'm going to start talking about today's subject. I'll mute everybody. There we go. The thing that brought this up was that someone must have been almost a month ago, brought up Chat GPT, which is a product of artificial intelligence. And it has gotten so popular. I think the examples, which I have forgotten in detail, but the examples were that it took Facebook a year to get to, I forget what the measure was, but it's something like 1,000 attendees. And it took some others like Twitter, months or years, and it took Chat GPT, I think,
17 days or something or other like that. It's a huge success. It's hugely popular. And it raises lots of questions about artificial intelligence being kind of an oxymoron, because we all really believe that there is no intelligence except human intelligence. We don't think dogs have intelligence. We don't think fish have intelligence. And we certainly don't think computers have intelligence. But this Chat GPT has
He'll be back.
And Hank GPT has
I'm
just
back.
has reappeared in the room.
This Chat GPT appears to have human intelligence. At least some believe so. And you will see the implications of that in a video. I've also posted this video and another one and a list of artificial intelligence examples on our website. And I really suggest that you all go there later and look at this, because it is kind of mind-bending. As I said, we all believe there's no such thing as artificial intelligence, real intelligence, but ChatGPT is shaking that belief up. So with that, I'm going to go share my screen and find, I think I can find, and that is that. Anybody want to take a whack at that subject?
I would just like to say that that was a fantastic presentation technically. I could hear every word and understand every word. Maybe it's my new hearing aids, but that was excellent. And very powerful, brought up a lot of points. Just 3 cheers. Go for it. Very informative. Thank you.
And Hank, before we start getting into questions, could you identify who the primary person was giving their opinion of it in that video?
No.
Don't have any credentials for them?
I can.
David, go ahead.
Yeah,
Who says I can?
David did. Yeah.
David, you're up anyway. Go.
Yeah. Joe Rogan was interviewing Brett Weinstein. He is a evolutionary biologist. He used to teach at Evergreen College, but got basically drummed out about 5 years ago now, and he has his own podcast where he talks about a lot of things in the biological evolutionary space. So he is that. I was just going to make 2 points. There's an old sort of story about somebody makes something like this, a machine, and it's told to maximize the number of things that you do. So what do we make? Well, we're making paper clips. So this machine eventually takes over and turns the entire world into paper clips. And so if you don't have some general idea of what it is that you want to have something to do, you don't let these things loose, as part of what Dr. Weinstein was saying. The other thing that I was just going to say, it just happens that right now I'm rewatching an old science fiction series called Battlestar Galactica. Does anyone remember that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's pretty much all about a civilization that makes these robots. These robots get intelligent. The robots rebel and declare war on the humans, and the humans are running around like scared rabbits. And during this process, the robots decide, the better way to infiltrate things is to disguise ourselves as humans, and so they make robots that look just like humans, hard to detect from humans. And of course, one of our main guys is falling in love with the really gorgeous looking robot.
You must
So-
be referring to the newer version of Battlestar Galactica.
That's
Anybody
right.
remember the older version?
Oh, I remember the 1978 version or something like that, but
Yeah.
this was the 2003 or 4 or 5 version.
Yeah, that was fun.
But so this topic has been around for a long time. What makes it current is the fact that this ChatGPT thing is surprisingly good. And I think one of the things that Dr. Weinstein was saying was that and actually we're getting a lot of the teachers in schools are now questioning, how can I judge an essay that a person submits if I can't have a way of detecting if they did it or they just asked ChatGPT to write something in the form that William Faulkner would have written. And so, it's, even right now, the education establishment is saying, how do I do this? And they have no clue, I don't think. But that was my 2 little things. I just remember the story of the paperclip maximizer and the movies or the television series with these robots that were called Cylons, and they disguised themselves in human flesh, and a lot of things came by. A lot of the stories get driven by that, but and it's not one of these things that's got a good resolution. So I'll let other people go.
Well, you're muted.
Yeah, if you're interested, Joe Rogan has a lot of very interesting interviews. I'm not sure if he's on KGRA or wherever he is, but do a search on him. Interesting that I understand now that they said you can write a New York Times article very easily just by asking a couple of questions, and the robot or the computer will write the article that apparently will be accepted by New York Times. There's a female robot, I think over in the Arab countries. I've forgotten the name of her, but apparently she passes this Turing test, or at least there are other computer programs that have successfully passed the Turing test, that you can't tell whether it's a computer or a real person behind the wall that you can't see. I'm reading a book about AI now, but it talks mainly about what's going on in China. Apparently, they have a lot of AI going on over there where they're collecting all kinds of data on, 6 million or 6 billion people, and can do face recognition and track everybody everywhere. So they seem to be doing some great stuff with AI. And but this was a very interesting interview. Thank you.
Yeah, I found it just fascinating, which is why I chose to play that one. There are others about ChatGPT which are equally interesting, and I've put those on the website. For any of you who came in late, I really recommend you go to the website, you look under events, and then it says, these are videos that have been presented in each one. You scroll down to the very bottom and you see January 2023 and 3 things pertaining to this. One of which is just a list of artificial intelligence plans, programs, or companies and what they are doing with them, which is also worth your time. Miriam.
Yes, on this issue of term papers and what the professors and teachers are likely to have to do. It was somewhere I heard that the people at ChatGPT were going to try to put in some kind of a watermark that they would see, and then they would know that the student hadn't written it.
Interesting.
But I don't know how it works.
Watermarks are, you can embed them in pictures and things like that that have a lot of content that you're not actually aware of. But if they basically copy the text is the text, and unless they're able to embed some pattern in the pattern of letters that or something that they use that that someone could detect, and then as soon as they find out a way to detect it, someone will find out a way to take that and obscure it again.
Yeah, that's true.
The thing that got me started on ChatGPT was an article on the front page of the San Diego Union Tribune, written by the guy who has written the column for years that he entitles "I'm There For You, Baby." And he went on ChatGPT and asked ChatGPT to write the week's article of "I'm There For You, Baby." And when he posted that particular week, he started out by saying, "I've been replaced." And that got my attention. Dan.
Yes, let's remember we have people that are more dangerous than ChatGPT. But I wonder what's going to happen in the next election with this artificial intelligence and the information that we get on our whoever's running, on our new politicians or our old politicians who are running again.
It'll make those old Russian bots look pretty clunky.
Yes.
Are you done, Dan? Stanley.
I'm done.
Oh, excuse me, Fran, not Stanley.
So we have actually been living with AI. Basically, they've replaced journalists already. And if you go to a lot of YouTube channels, you can tell it's artificial. Like I was watching news on the flood in California, and they showed pictures, and you could just tell the voice was artificially generated from news clips that they had collected. And when you think about it, every time we call a bank or someone and we press these buttons and you talk to them, I mean, it's really, really in our life. My husband made a good point. Why didn't people bring up these thoughts when they were still talking about Robbie the robot? We're threatened by him because he wasn't good looking or something. But remember, they just learned from us, like this example of the emotional and all that. They have just learned our behavior. So it's interesting and complicated.
They're very good at learning how to manipulate us. If you look at all of the recommendation algorithms that are in any of the big social media sites,
All algorithms, yep.
they're just there pushing our buttons, and there's no evil judgment, bad judgment. There's just no judgment at all. It's just saying, oh, look, they spend more time on YouTube when I give them this set of stuff, so that maximizes my thing. That's, they're view maximizers instead of paperclip maximizers, and they have exactly the same amount of sort of situational awareness that paperclip maximizer does, which is none. They're just trying to achieve a particular goal that was programmed into them.
Well, there's I'm a doctor, and there's a lot of it in already, and the latest news bulletin was ChatGPT passed the boards.
Well, yeah, and and actually, there are a lot of fields where good expert opinion is fairly rare, and they have been doing this for decades, is training what they used to call expert systems, where they look at a bunch of, they get experts to say, well, this is how I would do, this is what I think about it. And they then package that up and send it to, the doctor in, small town Botswana, and they have a level of expertise they wouldn't be able to get otherwise.
Stanley? You're muted. Go.
Okay, put my camera back up. Okay, sorry. We've all watched an effective presentation that probably changed some of our opinions. And it was very even-handed. He talked about the values of this type of thing, and then he pointed out the danger of it. Took a very even-handed presentation. What if after we watch that and we form a few opinions, we learn that that was the product of AI? Now that, and this guy, Brett Weinstein, after the fact says, that was not me. I don't share those opinions. I have a different take on it. Some of the opinions I agree with, but not all of that stuff. What would be the effect then? That's my question. End of comment.
Which is part of what the point that he was making, is that all of a sudden you don't know what you don't know what resources to trust. And even if there's and this brings up another thing, you've heard of things called deep fakes that basically are ways to make it look like someone went out and did something or said something that they didn't. And it's actually hard to prove that they did or they didn't. And, it's the sort of thing that, when that gets out, someone could go out and do something ridiculous and then just claim that, well, whatever pictures you had of that, those were all fakes. That didn't happen. It gives plausible deniability to all sorts of things.
Will?
Yeah, maybe we need a new definition of intelligence. Earlier you said you didn't think dogs had intelligence. I would argue that they do have some intelligence in that they can be trained to do all kinds of things. But maybe my definition of intelligence is different from the formal one, or even what other people have. I've noticed subtitles on TV programs. All those subtitles essentially are done by a computer, because very often they'll come up with very weird words that are very weird words that don't fit with what the person actually said. But that's got to be pretty good to do almost in real time to convert someone's speech over to written word. But
and I can see it scrolling at the bottom of my screen as we talk.
Yeah, that's doing it. What Fran was saying earlier, I've heard that the robot doctors do a better job of telling people what's wrong with them than some doctors do. But and it makes sense, because they've got access to a whole bigger database than most doctors do. That's all I have. Thanks.
But what that also means is that the doctors' use of their own judgment tends to get atrophied, because they're used to relying on the judgment supplied by something else. And so it's one of those things that I think that's partly why Weinstein was saying that a lot of people who think they're doing science aren't quite doing science. They're going through the method, but they aren't doing the thinking that's supposed to be involved in the method.
So it really works good for diagnostic imaging, looking at an X-ray and judging the differences. And, I tell, my hard drive gets full. and there gets some bad writing up there. And, that doesn't happen with an AI.
Yeah. And actually, we don't know that doesn't happen with AI. It's not supposed to, but there are a lot of things that are supposed to do happen. In some ways, if we can use it to offload tedious stuff or stuff that's difficult for us to do, like some of that, image recognition type of stuff, that's fine. If we, basically its job is to just do that. It's when it gets into the general stuff that it tries to, and that's what makes this one different, is the way it's able to fool you about sort of things that you would do in the general world, not in specific niches. They're very good in niches. They're probably very valuable in niches.
Dan?
Yes, we need to remember that this is a computer program that was written by a human. And it gets back to whoever wrote the program that we're talking about.
Although, Dan, I would say that what the program is doing is dependent a lot on all the data that it was fed, as opposed to the programming, and it's learning as it goes. These things do learn. They look for and find and discover patterns that we had not noticed. So it's not just what the person put in it; it's also what was latent in the data that it was exposed to.
It had to be in the program to begin with.
Nope, not at all. It's out in the data.
Well, I'd like you to explain to me where it came from.
It's in the data. It's latent in the data.
Well, that's correct. It's part of the data, but they had to have a programmer to instruct it on how to look at that data.
It's looking for patterns. That's what they programmed, is pattern recognition. It doesn't determine what patterns it recognizes. It determines how it recognizes patterns.
Mr. Wakely?
Yeah, they're predicting that lawyers may have to go look for another job, that AI can take over the legal profession very easily because it's pretty straightforward.
You just wait until they do that with the judges.
You're right.
I've been involved with a few lawyers in a couple of cases recently that I've seen, and a lot of that is politics. And it's who you know and where you are.
Yep.
Has a lot more to do with it than what the law really says. So they won't take over. If they do take over, they'll do a lot better job than the lawyers do.
And the thing is, it'll make it not as good a financial advice to get a good lawyer, because if they are all at the same level because they're all using the same stuff, well, why pay more? The guy that's got the best rate for whatever they can do, and also, a lot of lawyering is about convincing people. You're saying this thing is good at convincing people? Watch out.
I have 2 points. I'm going to mention the second point has to do with Gmail. If I got a mind fart and can't remember it, remind me what my second point is. My first point is it possible to try, has anybody tried Chat GPT on just a little exercise of preparing something that you want to talk about? Is it possible to do that for free, or is it insurmountable? My second question is, Gmail right now projects the next few words on some of the sentences I'm typing. They're typical, if you start out a sentence with, oh, I didn't think, looking forward to, and they'll quite often fill in your response. That's pretty simple-minded, but that's an example of taking the context and projecting what you're going to say.
Yep.
End of comment.
Yeah, that was point 1 and 2, or was that just point
Well,
1?
point 1 is, has anybody tried it? Is it possible to try it? Just as a simple little exercise.
Yeah, I think that
I have tried to get in and had very little luck, and I think they don't have enough computer power right now to service everyone that's trying to get onto it. But if everything I've read is that, yes, you can try it if you can get access to it. But trying to get access to it was very difficult. And I never did really get access to it. And as I got into one level, and then it hung up and never answered the quiz, not the quiz, but the button that I pressed for the second level.
Yeah, I think it's a effect of what Hank told us early on about how immensely interested people are in this, and they're just overwhelming the servers that it has available. So, but I've looked at a couple videos which show what some sessions look like. I saw one where it went in to our Excel spreadsheets and put Willie out of business because he said, "Oh, make me a macro that does this or something," and it wrote 48 lines of macro, and it worked perfectly.
Wow.
Willie, you're up.
Might as well give my 2 cents worth since my name was invoked there. Yeah, I actually have used it and I have written macros with it, which is really fun. But I had two things. It was easy to access and it was free, and I have it actually in the background. I started looking at it while we were doing this thing. In anticipation of this meeting, yesterday I was in a class that a woman in my class gave a presentation on Spanish cooking, and her name was Debbie. So I asked GPT, I said, write me a poem about Debbie and Spanish cooking. And it wrote this beautiful poem. And I read it to the class, and they were so impressed that I had such depth in my creativity to come up with this. And then I said, well, I actually prefaced it by saying I didn't write this. It was written by an artificial intelligence thing. So today, just for kicks, you can also converse back with the AI. So I wrote in there, make it angry. And it totally changed the poem into something really angry and dark. But at first it was, I mean, I can read it, see it's in the background, but I don't want to. But you can actually ask it to modify your product, its product. And
Wow.
that's where you can tweak it to say, make it more political or make it less, make it green, make it purple. It doesn't really matter. But when I did ask it to write it, I said, write a macro, and I said, write a VBA script that can capitalize a letter, and it spilled out a 10-line macro, which is perfect.
Was this in Excel or some other
No,
program?
it's in a Chat GPT.
Oh,
It's
Chat
just this
GPT,
program
okay.
that I'm in, but it
Yeah.
actually explains it to you. It says it looks at column A and column B, and it goes through and it explains the macro, which is something you don't usually get if you do a Google search. Unless you have one specific thing you're looking for. I mean, it really is just compiling just like Google, but it's doing this after you do the search. It's doing the I don't know what you call it. Besides the writing poems, it's doing the answering your search questions. If I say I want to learn how to fix a compressor in my car, and I go to Google, it'll give me 1,000 different pages, right? This gives you an answer. It says, I want to fix a compressor in a Dodge Caravan. It'll tell you exactly how to fix that compressor in a Dodge Caravan.
Does it ask you the questions? Well, what model is it? And does it have a blue wire here and a yellow wire there? Because
The only response I've gotten back, because I've only used it for a few minutes, but the only response I've gotten back when it didn't, it says, I can't find anything on that subject. If it doesn't know it, it just says, I don't know what you're talking about. Like if you say, give me a poem by, I said, give me a poem by so-and-so. And it says, I don't know any poems by that person. So I didn't phrase it properly. I didn't say write a poem. I said, find a poem. So it searched and said, I don't have a poem written by that author. So I rephrased it and said, write a poem, and then it produced this.
and I can see that you are being trained by it.
Absolutely. In fact, I don't, after you showed Joe Rogan, I started thinking, is that really Joe Rogan? Or is that a deep fake with AI speaking? So we don't know.
Interesting.
Can you tell us what browser you use to get access to it?
Yeah, I pretty much use Chrome for everything.
I just
Thank
want to
you.
let Hank know that his mic is muted and he might want to rename himself.
Fran?
Interesting, because one of the first things I asked it was to write poems. And I, sent these poems to friends and they were so impressed. But anyways, so when it very first came out, and I first heard about it, it was always easy to access. Now it's overwhelmed. The thing that, and using it as a Google, just like Willie said, I was using it as like a Google too, but often would get something like, well, but you need to talk to a specialist or go see a professional, But the main thing I was going to mention when I put my hand up was there are lots of times where it gives bad and wrong advice. And it's been shown to show within a few minutes, one direction or one advice and something completely opposite on the other. So there's still, you can't fully trust it, and there's still a lot to go. But there's this trickle down effect with technology. It's like the self-driving cars, where they had that technology and in the military and all that time. And I think there's somewhere, this is out for the peons. I think there's something way more sophisticated out there for the higher ups that they're using.
Well, for the higher ups or the NSA types.
Yeah. Do you get there with chatgpt.com? Is that the way you get there? Do you get there through chatgpt.com?
Willie?
I think it was AI.com or something like that.
I think it's ChatGPT dot something else dot maybe even org. I don't know.
You
It's
got to sign into
OpenAI.
something else first,
Right.
and get an account, and then you can sign. Then that goes to the chat.
I'll put it in the chat.
I noticed that the Chinese, lots of companies come up when you ask for AI companies, and a lot of them are Chinese. I don't know whether they're just not telling us about the other ones around the world, but I think the Chinese are doing really advanced things with AI, because they're obviously checking on their people there, and they want to have all the information they can about the individuals, and they're keeping huge databases on that. And particularly with face recognition, they almost are watching everybody every minute of every day. It's really scary.
Well, I don't see any more hands. And I will suggest once again that you go to the website and go to events, and then go to the long list of videos that we've played in the past, after or during or in addition to each Saturday morning session, or some Saturday morning sessions. And you'll find 3 links for today's. The first one of which lists all sorts of artificial intelligence companies or programs or et cetera, or organizations that are using AI. Mr. Ross.
So last night I got an email from ZDNet, which has been around a long time as a technical magazine publisher. And they talked about a couple different security devices.
Your microphone got,
You got muted.
There we go. Okay. So I got an email from ZDNet. And in that article link, it shows a couple different things that we've been talking about in the last couple of weeks. One is a USB key that you can put your different things onto, but it has a fingerprint reader on it. So if that USB key was to get lost, you couldn't access it without the fingerprint. So that's an item that was there. The other one is a USB data cable blocker. So you could put this between you and your whatever device you're plugging into, and that way you would know that the data could not go through that particular cable. But again, in that article, they recommended that you use your own device. As one of the people recommended, saying, I use my own USB charger. I don't just use the cable that's plugged in there. But it was just a couple things that were there. And they also talked about a device that it's out there that can, if you plugged into a phone, grab all the information out of your phone. So it's buyer beware.
Ross, maybe you can help me. I thought that just the USB plug that you put in the wall to charge your device was strictly power. Is there data also that can go through that plug that you put into the wall?
Ross?
No. So if you have your own charger, and that's what we spoke of last week, Will, that you are plugging into the wall, there is no computer on the other side of that wall in the AC outlet. So if you put a data cable in there, it doesn't matter because you're not plugging into a computer. You're just plugging into a power outlet. So that's the safe way to get your phone charged. Use your own charger, and it doesn't matter what cable you're using.
What if you use somebody else's charger? Will they be able to get data from their charger?
It depends what's in the charger.
It depends on what that charger's plugged into. If it's just plugged into the wall, I would expect not. But why not? If you're concerned about this, take your own charger along and use it.
If you're at a hotel or especially at an airport or something, they may have USB plugs in the wall that say they're charging ports. They say they're charging ports, but you don't know it's only a charging port.
Okay, I got you.
Yes, you can plug your device into a computer, USB port on a computer and charge it there.
Yes.
But if you do that, then the computer has access to the information or possible access to the information. If you just plug it into an AC outlet, it's not going to get any information.
Stella,
Hi, good morning. I have two questions not related to AR. It's about computer question. I use the text bar at the bottom of the screen. Now I added so many apps over there. So I have 2 lines of text bar, okay, 2 lines. And there's one at the second line, bottom line. I like to move that to the top line. Is there any way you can help me to do that?
you like to what?
Text bar.
Yeah, I know.
Text bar.
You'd like to do what with the second line?
Yes, I have a text bars, 2 lines of text bar,
Yes.
right? And there is app on the second line, bottom line. I like to move that to the top line.
Okay, you want to move one of the icons that is now on the bottom line up
Correct.
top line. You should be
Yes.
able to just grab it and move it.
Just grab and move it.
Just put your mouse on it, hold button and drag it.
Okay, oh, thank you. That's the first question. As a second question I have, I was using browser, one of the browsers. I have 4 different browsers I'm using. Does this browser give me problem? Said I cannot reach this page. And saying this error. Internal connection failed. How can I solve that problem? That browser is frozen.
Anyone else do that? I didn't understand.
I would ask Della if she could get to the same website using a different browser.
That I can do that. Oh, no, actually, no. I have Firefox, Chrome, and I have Brave. I using Edge for browser I'm using. The only website I can use now is Brave. Brave I can use.
And,
The
and you,
rest is just stuck. I cannot.
okay, but you can get to this website using the Brave web browser.
I don't think so.
Then
Not-
maybe the
not
site
mine.
just is down and you can't get to it in any web browser.
Yeah. Either that, or you could also have different ad blockers or restrictions installed differently in different browsers. And so an ad blocker may decide, oh, that site has got stuff I don't like on it, so I'm going to block you from it. A different browser may not be using that same technology, so it then allows you to get through. It's one of those things that it's really best to have someone there with you going through, and then we can look at all the different settings on the browsers.
That's why I was asking if she could get to it on any browser. And if none of the browsers can get to the site, it may not be the browser.
I checked the internet. They did give me different answers, but it's so complicated I couldn't follow that. They give me 4 instructions to solve this problem, but it's so complicated. I don't go back again to see. I can follow the instruction. Or
I would suggest that you Google for how to reset all of the settings in that particular browser. So if it is Edge, then I would Google for that. How do I reset go back to the defaults for Edge? That way, if you have something in there that's causing the problem, then it should go away. And again, as David mentioned, if you have an ad blocking program and in the extensions, then you may need to remove that ad blocker. I use Brave, I use Edge, I use Chrome every day. Not so much Firefox, but does not seem to be necessary. But I use all the different browsers, and to say I'm going to always use this one and never use that one, I don't do that. You just have to understand what it is you're trying to do, and ad blockers I use. But again, when I try to go to some pages, sometimes it says, okay, we see you have an ad blocker on, and we're not going to let you view our site with an ad blocker. Please unblock us instead of uninstalling all the ad blockers. And you have to decide whether or not you want to allow that particular web page to put up advertisement in your browsing.
that makes sense. I will try that. Thank you very much.
Della, can you tell us the website that you're not able to get to, and we can try it and see if we can get to it?
Edge. This Microsoft Edge browser. Oh, the website?
The one that you're having trouble with.
It would be probably best if you could is to copy that link that's not working into the chat. That way we can click on it and see what it resolves, because trying to read an exact link can be difficult.
Okay, I'll do that. Thank you. I'll look for that.
So Ross, when I was looking up that ZDNet article, was this the UB security key that they were talking about?
There were 3 or 4 things in there. Yes.
Okay, okay. That would be an
So again,
interesting.
you can, yeah, the first one, is the key that uses a fingerprint reader. So if you put all your passwords, let's say, onto a memory stick and you carried that with you, and that way you knew where it was, but if you happen to lose that, then that can be an issue. With a USB key with a fingerprint reader on there, it makes it another much harder for someone to read. You all guys should also know, what do you do with a memory stick that you find anywhere? You throw it away. You do not put it in your computer because you have no idea what is on there. It can have a virus on it that automatically activates as soon as you plug it into a computer. Don't be tricked into putting it into your computer and giving away your computer information to somebody else.
Yeah, there's lots of things, I think they're called rubber duckies, that you plug them in and they'll start doing stuff to your computer.
Well, okay. A memory stick is just a memory device, just like a floppy or a CD-ROM drive, and you can put it on there so it auto executes. If your computer is set up that way, that's one of the safety recommendations that's recommended, that you do not use auto activate on your memory stick or USB or anything else, that you have to be asked and given permission before it'll actually run. Most people's system isn't set up that way. So again, just don't be tricked into putting something like that into your computer.
Stanley.
I have
Yeah, I just have a help. I had to replace my TV viewing smart TV and replace my laptop external monitor. And a couple lessons learned. One, I tried a new brand of a 43-inch monitor for my computer TV room, and it was only $235. It's a brand called Hisense, Hisense. I don't know whether anybody else has come across that.
I've
But-
owned one.
Yeah.
Anyway, I like it. It worked. It's got a beautiful picture, and what I'm replacing was a TCL Roku TV that I had just 3 years and 5 days based on my purchase date, and it just went dark. And it had been acting funny prior to that. So then I took okay, so that's the end of that story, and that's fine. In the meantime, while I was getting this monitor replaced, I took the 32-inch TCL Roku smart TV from my computer, which is my second screen, into my TV room and hooked that up. And that worked fine for the week or 2 weeks that I was waiting to swap my monitor. So then when I got my big TV back, or new TV, I moved my 32-inch back to my computer. And in the process, I broke the screen. As soon as I turned on the power, there were vertical and horizontal lines, and down in the lower right was a sort of a starburst of lines radiating from a point where it seemed obvious to me that I had damaged the screen. And my only lesson that learned was the screens on these are very fragile. All of the instructions on the packaging say it's fragile, but I don't know how I damaged the screen on my TCL 32-inch screen, but it is shot. And so now I'm waiting for a 32-inch Hisense screen, a monitor, a smart TV that was not $99.99, $100 for a 32-inch smart TV. And I was sort of surprised at that low price, but I'm waiting for that to be delivered, and that'll be delivered soon. So my point is, be careful with the smart TVs. The front panels are very fragile.
Joan?
Yes.
Yes. Is there anyone there that can tell me how to use Mozilla Firefox extensions?
Well, an extension is a program. So if you go there, you can, if you Google for that, extensions for a Firefox, it should take you to like a library, just like the Google Play Store, and show you the different programs that you can install. And then that is an extension that you're adding to your browser, like a spelling checker or ad blocker or something else that you're adding to your program.
I thought I had done that, but maybe I should try it again. So you're basic, because I remember going to and seeing 2 or 3 different programs that I could, because I already use the browser most of the time, Firefox. And I have to set up a government website or a government email using it.
Okay.
And so,
And that would be something that they should be able to give you, say, click on this, and that should add that extension to your Firefox. It's
And
not
then
something that you would normally just go in and configure. It's a program that you would click on, and then that would get inserted into Firefox.
now when I open up Firefox for the first time in the day, where would this be?
It would be under settings and then extensions.
Okay, thank you.
Will?
Yeah, my wife got a MRI done last week, and we got a disc back with all the information on it. And I want to make a copy of that disc. And I was using a program called VLC, and I was able, I think I want to do a data copy. I don't want to do a video copy, but it also gave me an ISO copy. I think a data copy, would that be what I would use to do a complete copy of a DVD to another DVD?
Well, the device that you have is a memory device. And so I would just use the Windows Explorer program to copy that information from one place to another. So in other words, you could put that disk in, if it's a CD, copy it to somewhere on your computer, and then put a new one in there, and then go through the procedure, whatever you have to burn a new DVD, or better yet, a memory stick. Just put it onto a memory stick. VLC is a player. I wouldn't in particular use that to copy information, but I use it all the time as a playing program.
Yeah, the problem I had was I had no problem copying the DVD to my computer, but then when I put a blank DVD back into the player, it rejected it, and I didn't know why. It certainly was a big enough one to handle it. It was only 18 megabytes, and I put in a gigabyte. I put in a 700 gigabyte disk, but it kept rejecting it for some reason, ejecting it. I don't know why. All right,
So
good idea. I'll do what you
have
said.
to burn a CD or DVD. You have to go through a couple steps. You have to say, I want to use this disk and compose the information that you put on there. So let's say you were going to put music on there, and you have to grab the 12 music files or video files and have them ready. And then you use your burning program to go back out to the CD, DVD, and burn it onto that information on that disk. That's
And
why
you-
I'm suggesting that you just use a memory stick, a USB key. You don't have to burn it. You just copy to it.
I would like to burn it. So what burning program would I use?
Will, could you explain why you want a copy of the disc? Are you going to mail it to somebody?
I'm going to give one to the doctor and keep one myself.
Again, I don't understand why not to use a memory stick.
Or just, copy them onto your Google Drive if you want to, or something, just be it doesn't have to be a DVD.
It
or a
shouldn't be
disc.
that hard to copy it on, to burn it onto a DVD, and I don't
Okay,
understand
so,
why I can't do
well,
that.
if you go out to buy a computer today, you're going to have a hard time finding one that has a DVD CD-ROM drive in it. Most of them do not, because everybody uses memory sticks and or a Google Drive or some other type of information online.
Well,
but
my
your
computer does have a DVD burner on it, so I don't understand why I can't burn to
Does
it.
your doctor?
I expect he
doctor?
probably does.
Yeah,
Well,
but you don't know that he
sir.
does, and you'd be
Okay.
clear to him to give him something that he certainly can use. Like, that's why Ross is saying, use
Okay.
a memory stick.
No, he has a
So-
DVD player,
Memory stick.
I'm sure. Anyway, my point is, I don't understand why I can't burn it to a DVD. And
It's because you don't know how to in your computer, sir. And I understand that's the question that you're asking. So there's a program that should be on your computer that came with the DVD drive that burns the information from your computer to the memory, you just can't put it on there or copy to it. You have to bring up the burning program.
yeah,
And Roxio was one that used to be used for a long time. Adobe has a number of programs that are like that. But again, if you go for your DVD drives that's in the computer, there should be a piece of software that came with that would help you make DVDs or
I recall
CDs.
in the past that when I put in a blank DVD, a window would come up and say, do you want to burn something to this? But I don't see that happening now. And
So you don't have that program installed and say, when you put a new piece of media in the computer, there's a configuration that says, do this. So if it's a memory stick that you put it in there and you say, well, what do you want to do? You want to say, open it up, play it, install it. There's options that you can do on that particular drive. So you have the DVD burning program, CD burning program, not enabled to activate automatically.
you
But
do
that
that with
should
settings?
be in your list of,
Do you do it with
you
settings?
have a. Are you done, sir?
Will, if you want to call me after the meeting, I'll walk you through it. Okay?
Okay,
Maybe we could move on.
all right. Okay,
Stella?
Yes, isn't there some CD is made just for you record once? And regards the space, you cannot even add any more, just that. And you cannot copy anything from that CD. I believe that was a
that's not-
CD just like that.
It depends on the way you create the DVD or CD. You can set it up and use it as a read-write device if you want to, but that's depending upon the program. Generally, we just add things to a CD or a DVD and then finalize it, lock it up and say, now from now on, you cannot change anything that's on there.
No,
Again,
I don't think so. The CD is made just for you to record once, that's it. They are CD
that's
just
not
like
true.
that. Maybe hospital just use that, so prevent you to copy. They just for your record. If you need more copy, you can request to the hospital, ask them to make more copies for you. That's my thinking.
if you can, if you can see the information, play it on your computer, you are reading it. If you can read it, you can copy it and save it anywhere you want. But we're getting into the weeds here on CD and DVDs on the things we can and can't do. And I haven't used a CD in probably years. I just use memory sticks. They are much more
today
friendly.
people don't use CD anymore. Ross, I have a question for you. I just sent you this link. Like I said, I cannot reach that site. I don't know if anyone have seen this.
I
This-
posted it back in the chat, Della, that I clicked on the link and it took me to AT&T's login page.
Okay. Do you see anything? You see that site?
It's AT&T's website and it's asking to log in. Is that
Oh.
what you expected to get?
No, not really. We do use AT&T service. Maybe I call AT&T, see if they know how
No.
to.
So the link, if you look at the link that you posted,
Yeah,
it starts out with HTTPS www.att.com.
right.
So that the link that you are posting, as Saul mentions, it takes you to your account or asks you to log in at AT&T. That should work in any of the browsers.
Didn't.
But again, the
It's a
bigger
bugger.
question is why do you want to go there?
No, I don't want to go there. I want to go a website. I just see this and I couldn't go to
That
the site I want to
is-
go.
When
Okay.
you click on that link, it is taking you to AT&T. If you want to go to somewhere else, then you need to put that up in the address bar of the browser. So if you want to google.com or microsoft.com, you have to click on that. It may be set that when you open up the browsing program, that it automatically takes you there, which again, that's a setting in the browser. You can put anything you want into the address location in that browser and go to another page.
Once I see that, I go to up website. I couldn't. That's it. I don't want to go that side. I go to on the other side, but I couldn't reach other
Then you
side.
erase that out of the address bar and you put in what you want.
Okay, I'm going to try.
Also, I was just going to make the point that when I look at the website or the URL that she put in there, it looks like it's trying to go down into part of the account management. I think what AT&T does is if it sees that you don't have an open session with them, it goes you to the account, to the login page first. Once you pass the login page, then it'll go to whatever site within the AT&T that you want. But because neither Saul nor I, when I tried it, have an open session with AT&T, it made us log in.
Yes, that's why it went there.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much.
Pat,
Yeah, I just noticed this when Stan was talking, but my screen, I don't know if anybody can see it, but I've tried different videos up there. And usually the screen disappears if you see it on, I guess it's on the left side. I don't have the video anymore. I have a partial screen. And then I lean over and it disappears. But I was wondering, does anybody know what's causing that? This is the first time it's happened.
Sounds like there might be something on your lens, or you need to use a different background.
No, I tried the different backgrounds. They all have that V-shaped thing. Can everybody see it? This V empty.
Yeah.
You don't.
Yeah,
I-
so might be something that is projecting onto your lens from the light in your room.
Oh,
what we see as your background is sort of a Northern Lights, Aurora Borealis.
right.
She's talking about the item that's to her left.
There's
On
like
the
an
screen.
artifact on the display that we're
Right.
looking at just to
Yes.
her left.
Yeah, and
Yes,
it thinks it's part of your image. It thinks it's part of you. That's why it's not replacing it with the background. And whatever the algorithm is that is, basically carving out around your head and your face so that you show and it thinks it's just part of you. So it thinks it's part of your sweater or something.
Oh, okay. Because when I go over here, it totally disappears. And then it comes back. So I don't know what it's doing. Anyway, it never happened before. So I thought I'd see, since Stan was talking about.
Choose a different sweater.
Yeah, I was going to say a different sweater may get rid of it.
Okay, all right. Well, maybe next time. Okay, thanks.
I
Thank you.
would say move the clutter in your background. That's something in your room that is looking like you to the Zoom program. So if you could move that thing, it's on the other side of you, on your left.
It's over here.
Yeah, over there.
Yeah, but behind you.
Well, I don't have anything behind me on my left-hand side. Everything is on the right. But that's okay. I'll figure it out. It's okay.
Okay.
That's an example of a lack of artificial intelligence.
Yeah, it's more artificial. It's an artifactical intelligence.
It looks like a teepee or something. But okay. All right. Oh, I need to take my hand down. Okay, there we go. Oh, and Saul, thanks for the info about the names. Actually, I did go on, I didn't know what that was. A lot of times I don't click on anything if, when you're looking on the settings, because you never know what you're going to come up with, or if you can go back to the original. So, but I did click on it. Now I see the names all the time. So it's pretty cool. Thank
So
you.
just to clarify, she's just referring to the in the Zoom app where you have a name usually in your video tile in the lower left. Those are the names she's referring to.
Yeah, and I didn't have it unless I scrolled over it. So now I have it.
Yeah. It's one of them settings, and there's a bunch of them.
I know. Yeah, I found out. Thanks to Saul.
They seem to be changing weekly.
Yeah. I think I'm at 5.13.5 or something for my version number.
On the Windows side, that is correct. Mac is bumped up one beyond that.
Now, when was the last backup? I think I did it a week or two ago. Has it been more recent than that?
I think mine's a week or 10 days old at this point.
Yeah, and the same one on the Mac side. It's at 513.6 for some reason.
Okay.
I see the thing that is over Pat's shoulder, and it looks to me like something that I've seen on the web or on television somewhere. It looks like a symbol, and I have managed to copy it. Let's see, how can I show it to you all? Here, hold on.
It almost looks like a folding chair or something.
Yeah. Well, I don't. You just take it, do an image search in Chat GPT and it'll tell you what it is.
Now, can
Yeah.
everybody see my screen right now?
Yes, we can see what you captured.
Yeah. You recognize that? I think that's a symbol I've seen on television or somewhere.
Almost looks like a bird flying or something.
Yeah.
The only thing that I've noticed is the pattern in it looks similar to the pattern in her sweater. And that's what I was thinking. It may have the artificial intelligence may have thought that was her sweater.
Oh, right. Yeah. The bottom part does look a lot like the.
I'm going to try.
No.
Anyway.
So she's
Yeah,
on a
do it.
Mac and you're on a Mac and using the automatic part of the video program in a Mac that can zero out the background and then put your screen in there. And I think that is what part of the issue is. If you got rid of your background and showed what was actually in your room, my assumption is that would go away.
Oh, right. Yeah, it does. When I blur it, it only does it with the videos. It doesn't do it with the blur.
So, Pat, do you have a shawl or something you could throw on your shoulder just to block out the sweater, just to see?
Not close by.
Can you change so that we see what your room looks like? Just go to no background.
Well, they-
Stan, we just had last week, a whole thing about privacy and security.
My
Don't push
apologies.
it, okay? But the
My
point
apologies.
here is that it's an anomaly because you're trying to use an artificial background in Zoom, and it's obviously a failure of the artificial intelligence, as David said, and we're not going to solve it here.
Yeah. Okay, there, oh, actually, it is still there with the blurred background.
Lean away from it. There you go. See, something is picking it up and we can't know what it is. It's smarter than we are.
Yes, I don't know what it is. Okay, well, we'll figure it out. Oh, actually, okay, well, never mind. Thank you. Okay. All's quiet on the Western Front.
Back to Hank.
Thank you.
Back to Hank, it's 10 o'clock in Hawaii. So I think I'll tie this off until next week. Let's see what's going on next week. It's the first Saturday of the month, though it's nothing. Let me see what I have scheduled. Just a minute, everybody. If I can look at my own calendar, I'll tell you what we think we have going.
I just want to say that thank you, Hank. That was a good video you found.
Yeah,
We haven't even seen the other ones he's posted on the website.
Well, speak for yourself.
Maybe you have, David. Just me.
I've been peeking and poking while we talk.
Yeah, we had a couple of presentations by Kevin Stratford on spreadsheets. He does a good thing on Chat GPT on using that process for writing, doing stuff in spreadsheets. It's very interesting.
Yeah, I think that's the one that I saw where he had to make a macro for him.
I have it scheduled for next week to be me talking about where and how is the cloud. What is the cloud and where is it hiding? I hope that I'm able to do something intelligent on that subject. We'll see.
And if not, we'll ask Chat GPT.
Anyone want to stay on here? Because I'm about to close things up. No?
See
Okay.
you next week.
I'll close it for all.